Plenty of things to talk about, so sit down at Choristers Lounge. From far and near, won't you come and hear its sweet, melodious call? Let us all unite in one accord. We're family after all. So let's settle down and listen to the sounds of the singers in Choristers Lounge. There's plenty of things to talk about, so sit down, so sit down, so sit down at the lounge.
Hello, Choristers Lounge family, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I just want to thank you all again for being part of our journey. Thank you all for continuing to subscribe to the channel, share the good news and glad tidings of joy with your colleagues, family, and friends. Just thank you all for being part of the journey thus far. Today, we are pleased to welcome into the Choristers Lounge, Elder Dr. Simon Quattlebaum. So, Elder Dr. Quattlebaum, I say shalom to you and glad to have you, sir.
Shalom. Good to be here. What a pleasure. Thanks so much. It's an honor.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So again, Choristers Lounge family, we are so pleased to have again with us Elder Dr. Simon Quattlebaum. And we're going to go into the interview portion of today's episode. So, Elder Simon, just kind of, we always like to start just looking at a chorister's journey. But before we get to that, prior to your time as a chorister, who were some of maybe your earliest musical influences, both, in church and outside of the congregation?
All right. Well, since this is chorus, I'll start with inside the organization.
Yes, sir.
And the list is long, but I'm gonna just mention those who had the immediate influence on me, and that is the late Zephaniah McDonald. I'm gonna call a roll. The late Caleb Garrett.
Yes, sir.
The late Lillian Coleman. I don't know if you know her or not, but this is all Newark members. So that's where it started. Lucretia Walker Granison, the late Lucretia Walker. Can't miss the chorister extraordinaire, the late Joe Person. And Dorcas Terry.
Yes, sir.
And that was Newark.
Yes, sir.
That was Newark, and I couldn't help myself because even the late Leroy Pill Hill and Junior Spivey, they were all in Newark, so I had no choice.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I had
indeed.
no choice.
Yes, indeed.
Either preacher or singer. So I hung out with the singers.
Yes, sir.
But they were the ones that in the organization that really had that influence on me. And, so much so that it was to the point where you didn't want to make any mistakes around them, especially the fellas, because they would punch you in the chest and say, get right. Okay. Wasn't no playing. All right.
Yes,
if you
sir.
couldn't sing it, shut up, but if you could sing it, then go ahead. But on the outside, quite a few. The late Sam Cooke was probably, my idol pretty much. Because he was just smooth. He sang. He was a baritone. He sang in my key.
Yeah.
And everyone else that influenced me was like secondary, but he was the one.
Yeah.
That helped to to make the connection between the outside and the inside the organization as well.
Sure.
But I've had few. I was blessed in that sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just I'll just with my few years there in Newark, some of those names that you mentioned certainly played a role in my development, as well as you know. So as far as kind of your development as a younger person, of course, you were blessed to be born into a family that had a lot of siblings, and you had a lot of brothers and sisters, things like that. Did they play any part in your musical development as well?
Oh, most definitely, because every one of my brothers and sisters sang. Even as youngsters, way before I got here, my father, the late Elder Sam Quattlebaum, would, back in the day, they would take them on the road and they would sing for their supper. So each of them, I can remember them telling me stories about them traveling to different towns, and he would make them get out and sing a song. So all my family members sang, I think, except for one, and that's but he was more of a deacon. That's
Sure.
Elder David Quattlebaum's father, my late brother.
Yes, sir.
But he was more of a deacon. But everybody sang, and so again, even though it's that being a preacher or a singer, okay, so singing came more naturally to me, even though I was snatched up from the choir, but that's another story.
Yes.
By the former leader,
Sure.
Rabbi J.U.
Yes, sir.
But other than that, yeah, that those are the influences, both inside and outside the
Sure.
organization.
Absolutely. So I've heard relative to your father that he was an outstanding shout song singer. Do you
Yeah.
remember any of the shout songs that he used to perform?
He used to sing. I remember as a youngster, Rabbi A.Z. used to call him up in the old tabernacle and, Quattlebaum, come on up here and sing me a song. So he would probably sing, one of them would probably be, did you ever hear Jerusalem on? Did you ever? They go from Genesis to Revelation. You didn't sit down until Revelation was done, but that's the way they did it.
Sure. Yes, sir.
And I will sing like a bird in every tree. Oh, what's the name of that song he would sing?
That's a new one. I've never heard of that one. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. That one was besides. Did you hear Jerusalem Morn? And I will sing. Anyway, it was those are the two, and it'll come to me as I move forward that he would sing. So yeah.
Did he ever sing Sword of the Lord and of Gideon?
Sword of the Lord Gideon. That was another one.
Yes, sir. I heard it. I would have loved to have, and that's one thing I've never heard a recording of, but that was just from the stories that I've heard. He's been entrenched in my memory just from that oral history that we have within the congregation, that he would just have that tabernacle rocking just with his energy. And just the poise that he, would command those shout songs. So that's absolutely wonderful. So, kind of outside of, and still not necessarily focusing just on your choristership just yet, did you ever perform in any outside groups or outside choirs, anything like that?
As a matter of fact, I did. I was a singer in a rock and roll band back in the early '70s. I was a lead singer in another rhythm and blues band in the city. I once opened up for one of my bands I played for. We opened up for at the time, but he's dead now. A guy named Buddy Miles, and Buddy Miles used to play with Jimi Hendrix. He was the drummer, Jimi Hendrix, and we would open up. We opened up for him at the Saratoga Performing Arts Center. Back in the day, I don't think you were here, Matt, but this is like
no, sir, not physically, maybe spiritually, but not physically.
I don't even think you were a twinkle in your mama's eye yet. So you were the first one. So, but no, I think it's like late '60s, and we went up when we had to go through something to get in there. So we were fortunate to do that. So that was like 3 bands I played in. The most recent one was the early '80s that I mentioned earlier about. The gentleman and I are still good friends. He lives in up in Connecticut now.
Yeah.
So that helped to keep my chops up. But at the same time, with being in the organization, it was with different choirs.
Sure.
And back in the day, which is they don't do it much now, but particularly during the Passovers and the assemblies, a bunch of us would get together. On the land, we just get together, start singing, man. Go to the motel room, just start singing. That was another thing. But the the Metropolitan Choir, which had the late, Jimmy Roberts from Mount Vernon,
Yes, sir.
Zeph,
Yes, sir.
Brother Bo, William Beaufort.
Yes, sir.
Again, the late Lucretia Walker Granison, Lillian Coleman. You probably didn't know her. She was local here in Newark. Another brother named, he used to call him Little James. Forgot his last name, but and then Junior Spivey and all that.
Sure.
So, I was washed and a part of a history of this organization with singers, and even though, like I said, I was maybe the time maybe 16, 17, just started getting into it. And of course, they were obviously older, but the opportunity to be with them and as people say, to sit at the foot of their vocalizing and I learned a whole lot, and I can't forget the late David Plummer.
Yes,
Okay. Sir. Who always, they were friends with Bo and Brother Stevenson the same way. We go down there and but I learned a lot from them and had the opportunity to sing with them and to develop this ear and develop discipline and all that stuff to go with it.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to hone in on three of those influences in particular, and just anything that you can share with us relative to, and in any order, Brother Joe Person, Brother Zephaniah McDonald, and Brother William Beaufort. Those three in particular.
How much time do I have?
Anything that you want to share with those?
How much time do I have, bro?
Help yourself. Help yourself. Help yourself.
Oh, man. Well, let me tell you, Brother Joe Person, the late Brother Joe, which is Zephaniah McDonald's. No, I'm sorry, wrong person. I'm thinking of, but anyway, Brother Joe Person, chorister class personified. Okay. Always stood straight. It was never a whole lot of this. It was just, you know what I mean? And you followed. Okay. One thing he did was teach protocol. One of the things he taught that if you're gonna, the chorister wears gloves, don't wear the glove with the stick with the baton you're using.
That is
okay.
correct.
If I was left-handed, I keep the glove on this hand, but I take the glove off that hand and don't do with the glove on.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Find the right key and no transposing unless it was too low. So most of the songs that they did, it was one key. That was it all the way through. Even if it was low, they would keep it there. But it's so that was from Brother Joe Person. Zeph McDonald, a stickler for knowing the songs and singing them correctly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. He was, he liked to fool around sometimes, but he was no joke when it came to, actual singing.
He enjoyed having a good time. Absolutely. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So, because when he was in the choir, hey, and, then you had to be ready because as I was a young chorister, he would say, so my heart, but hey, get up there, go for it. You know what I mean? Now listen, when you do this, just make sure that you're, that you're watching it, you know your songs. You got, the songs, let's say for the ceremony, all the songs go up to God. There's nothing that,
That's
everything is praising.
That's
okay.
Right.
Don't sing anything that's not praising them.
Correct.
During
Yes,
the
sir.
sermon.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, again, you watch your pitch. Okay. Have a repertoire of song that you're going to sing each Sabbath. If you can, meet with, evangelists. My brother at the time was in charge. Try to meet with the pastor for the week and see what they're going to be speaking about.
Yes, sir. And just for the sake of the record, Elder, so just call your brother's names just for
evangelist Yeah, evangelist B.J. Quattlebaum at the
Yes, sir.
time. Yes, yeah.
Yes, sir.
So so we would meet, he and I, with Zeph, and we would meet and say, Elda, what you gonna do this week? Well, he'd tell, and we find a song to pick out this way. So just continuity, that's
Yes,
all.
sir.
Um, so that was something I think that was key, and of course, finally, William Bo Diddley Fur,
Yes, sir.
my idol.
Yes, sir.
Um, he knew his stuff,
Absolutely.
and every song had to be on key. Okay. If you miss, nope, I stopped you because, I didn't come on bass. Let me hear you, and perfect arranger.
Yes, sir.
Of course, he wrote, As the Evening Sun Goes Down.
Yes, sir.
He arranged, like My Country 'Tis of Thee, the song I was singing earlier. And, with the choir, of course, recently I saw someone put something on Facebook of him leading in Philadelphia, Lift Up Your Heads, All Ye Gates in Philadelphia.
Yes, sir.
And he didn't change that pitch one time. Okay. He started it there. That's where it ended. And I'm not saying that as a knock against what's happening
Sure.
now,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
but that's where the concentration came in because of the fact that you had to think way ahead of time in your head what that song, what that note is,
Yes, sir.
what note is what, where are you, because you got to be in it. But anyway,
Yeah.
I'm gonna start preaching. But that's
Sounds
when
good
it
to
comes to
me.
the music and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
You're of course you're being watched, and always poised.
Yes, sir.
Know your singers, looking at them to see whether or not they're engaged. So you get that feeling that stuff that I'm mentioning now you just can't teach. But
Yes, sir.
so yeah,
Absolutely.
so those three. I hope I
That was perfect. That was
tried
that
to
was
keep it
that was
short.
absolutely perfect. And for folks that are kind of in my age group and maybe younger, so brother Joe Person, he composed several songs. The most common one that we sing to this day every Sabbath, he composed Hero Israel, the Lord our God. That's brother Joe Person. Brother Zephaniah McDonald was the district chorister of the New England district. Up until he passed away.
Yeah.
And like I said, brother William Beaufort was a marvel to watch. He had a flair in front of that choir that has been often duplicated or often imitated, never duplicated.
Never duplicated.
You know, I mean, it was so cool to watch him do what he did. You know, sometimes he would direct with his elbows. I mean, it did a little chicken wing thing. It was something,
Right.
something to behold. So, if we can find some of those videos, it is a sight to behold, Brother Bo,
Yes,
in front of a choir. So back to you, Elder Doctor. When, where, and by whom were you appointed a chorister?
Well, of course, right here in good old First Tabernacle, Newark, New Jersey.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, it was a couple of years after the Tabernacle relocated from where it was into where it is on Meeker Avenue now. So,
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And it was by Brother Joe, late Joe Person, the late Brother Zephaniah McDonald, and Brother Beaufort, and my brother at the time, Evangelist B.J. Quattlebaum. That's how that started.
Absolutely. And during your time as a chorister, are there any particular moments, any particular memorable events that kind of come to mind? You already kind of talked about some of the choral groups that you sang with, but just any particular pieces that you kind of think of over your course of your chorister journey.
Well, there's a couple, and the others I don't want to start grabbing at because as I was looking at the questions, I was trying to think too. I was like, oh my goodness!
Yes,
but one of the highlights, and I could think a few, but one of them was the opportunity to do the whole armor ceremony in Newark with then Elder J.U. Crowdy.
Yes, sir.
He was an elder, and
Yes,
he did
sir.
it here in Newark.
Yes, sir.
And Brother Zeph said, all right, Brother Simon, you got the music. Humming.
Yes, sir.
With who?
Yes, sir.
You mean with the upcoming leader?
Yes, sir.
But that was something, and I got his blessing after that, because it's again, from the outside, it's like, well, you look at a chorister and it looks like they're doing this and this. Oh, I could do that, but little do they know that there was arrangement in something. Your mind is always going. You're already up to the next song. You're already to the next verse already. You're singing this verse, but you were already at the next verse.
Mm-hmm.
You're singing this song, but you were already at the next song. So it wasn't like, well, okay, one at a time, and then having, like I said, the soon to be rabbi.
Yes, sir.
Sitting right there in Newark.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And I'm like, so that was one memory. The other memory, quite a few really, but just actually singing in concert with the a cappella choir, not Celestial because they were for my time.
Cherubs.
Not the Cherubs, but Jimmy Roberts, Zeph, Bo. It was a district.
Oh, the Metropolitan.
Metropolitan.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Metropolitan Choir. That was my first time in there singing with all those greats, man.
Yeah.
It was like
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
skills.
Yes, sir.
So, but those two times, the other times, it was concerts done with different groups. Like I think we used to have the rehearsal, and the people from Rochester used to come down, and from Brooklyn, and that was at the time J.C. Carey Sr.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
And we went to Rochester. We sang in Rochester. We used to travel all over the place.
Yes, sir.
So that was wonderful. Like I said, that was with the Metropolitan Choir.
Yes, sir.
Now, of course, the Cherubs, of course, we did the recital hall at Carnegie Hall.
You're uniquely positioned just based on your experience to kind of answer this question. How do you see the intersection, right, between spiritual, the spiritual sector and the secular sector relative to music, right? How do you see that intersection being a benefit, right, to what it is that we're doing as far as shaping a musical identity, shaping a certain musical vantage point as choristers within the congregation?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you this. I love our Cagasock locally. I love them. So I'll get to I'll answer that question by saying this. We have to be with our organization with Cagasock. We have to be careful because of the fact that what we do with our music is kind of sacred. So I guess I'm kind of sort of like the late David Plummer. You know what I mean? Cagasock music is Cagasock music. And even though the outside influences, which is fine, you could have it, but you start colorizing, but you colorize a little bit too much, that you start losing the sacredness of the music itself. And so that intersection between the sacred and the popular, we can't blur the line, because if it's blurred, nothing like add a little color to a song.
Sure.
When like the late David would say, no curly cues. So then, no put no minors in here or there, it's particularly if we're singing it secularly in the organization. So in short, we have to watch and not to blur the lines too much in terms of what's secular and what it is that we sing. Like I said, I'm not against it, but there's nothing like the choral arrangements of our music. Nothing. And I used to get mad at Brother Dave and Zeph and all them say, hey, man, we singing that song like that. Yeah, well, how come? It's cool, But now as I, mature, I see it's secular. I mean, not to say it can't be pretty.
Sure.
And it can't be beautiful.
And I think your point is well taken. It's about time and place. And kind of what I was hoping to get to is that there is a time to understand and really hone in on the sacred space for which we're operating. But there's also got to be an opportunity for us to do what generations before us did in terms of going out. Right. And when you go out, we kind of have an opportunity to maybe do some arrangements and, kind of do a little more. But kind of when you cram, I'll say, right, everything into the sacred moment, right, you allow for all these other pieces to come in because you've limited the ability for us to come together into a 5-hour window between Friday night and Saturday, right? Or let's say a 6-hour window.
And then it becomes like competition. Who could sing the best baritone? Who could put the verse? Who could do the best tenor run? Who could do, you know what I mean? And within the ceremony, the ceremonies that we sing, I think that all that other stuff, get out the way. Okay, straight 4-part harmony or whatever, 5-point high baritone, whatever. Put the to add the color without the flash. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
That makes perfect sense. I mean, and I hope that our younger choristers, just choristers in general, heard what you mentioned earlier about during that worship ceremony. Those songs are to be God-centered, everything toward praise, adoration, worship of the Most High. Right. When that worship ceremony, Friday night, Saturday, anytime that ark is open, right? The focus for all those songs are on praising the name of the Lord, his praise, his adoration, glorifying God. Everything else, that's for another time. Especially when that ark is open.
Yeah, we're bringing our whole selves to him raw.
Correct.
You know what I mean? No fillers, no nothing. Lord, I'm singing this song to you straight with no chaser.
Yes. Yes, sir. Straight no chaser. Yes, indeed.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
And then after, but that's up to the chorister. They have to be disciplined themselves.
Yes, sir.
To not, to see it and or I don't know. Like I said, what most of the stuff I'm talking about is comes from one's practice and one's experience. But at the same time, there were certain basics that you just don't want to mess with, particularly when it comes to the sacredness of our organization and the songs.
Yes, sir.
You may not like what they do or people, But when it comes to the music, you know what I mean? That's where I am.
Yes, sir.
That's where, and my ear's still there. If I hear something, I'll be like, yo, Matt, come on, man.
Yes, sir. I hear you. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I hear. Now, real quick, so 2 more questions.
Yes,
I want to see if you can see this picture. Can you see this?
yes, sir. I just looked at it.
Do you know?
Before I came.
Do you know who these people are?
That's Brother Beaufort and the director. The woman in front of him is the late Zeph McDonald's wife. Behind him, I don't know, but after the third lady on the right, going that way is Lillian Coleman. I mean, Lucretia Walker at the time.
Yes.
Behind her was Lillian Coleman. And the other picture I had to look and see. I just looked at this picture, interested, and then my sister, the late Mother Sarah Quilla Jones, is on the end.
Yes,
In the
sir.
back, that's starting from my left and reading to my right. The late Levi Person.
Yes.
Zephaniah McDonald behind him.
Yes.
The light skinned brother. Oh, I forgot who that was.
That's all right. Your percentage is great.
Yeah,
you're doing great.
And all the way in the back for the men is Leroy Pill Hill.
Yes, sir.
And let's see, the other two. I think the other one in front of Leroy was I used to call him Little.
Was it Little George?
Little George. That's
Little
who that
George,
was.
okay.
I think that's who that is. Yeah.
Okay.
And I can't think of the other brother's name. So out of that, 1, 2, 3. I didn't.
well.
I had to look. I'm just looking at that picture.
Yes,
I was going to send it to Brother Blake. But
yes, I think the one in the middle, if I'm not mistaken, is brother Pill Hill's brother James Hill.
James, that's who that is.
Uncle James, Uncle
that's
Leroy.
Right, James, that's who that is. That's right. Sure is. Yep.
Yeah. What was the name of this choir?
Celestial Acapella Choir.
Come on now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. See, we gotta call these names. We gotta call these names.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Hot, boy. Let me tell you, man.
That's all right.
Look, at the time in the when I came there, like the mid to late 60s.
Yes, sir.
Man, boy, let me tell you, Elda McDonald.
Yes, sir.
Boy, I tell you, boy, but after that, most of the people moved to Belleville.
Sure.
But Newark was the place. That
Yes,
was
sir.
the place. That's why I said I couldn't. You either were a singer or a preacher.
Yes, sir.
So,
yes, sir. So, and Elda McDonald was the father of Brother Zeph McDonald.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, sir.
And he was Grand Chaplain or
Elda McDonald?
Yes.
No, he's not Grand Chaplain, but I think in Belleville, what did he did? He did something special when he lived in Belleville. And his wife, Saint Elowina McDonald.
Yes.
She was the Mother Sarah of the organization. But I don't
know if it was. For some reason I thought it was the Grand Chaplain or Chief Steward, something like that. But I do know this, and this will be a conversation for another day. History records that he played a part in the scenario by which the song and When They Heard That came about.
Okay,
that's a conversation for another day. But
okay, all right.
He had a piece to play in that. So this is Elder Doctor. This has been wonderful. So I'm going to ask you one or two more questions, but you can kind of answer them together.
Yeah.
What words of encouragement do you have for this generation of singers and this generation of choristers?
All right, let's see. And I wrote these down because
I
just want to make sure that I got a bunch of them.
Yes, sir.
I'll try to go through them all right quick. First of all, eat, sleep, and live your craft. Okay,
yes,
always have them in mind. Always singing, looking at a song, just like so. You're a teacher now. Okay,
yes,
your chorister now you're teaching.
Yeah.
Okay, so you find those teachable moments even when you sing, matching it with the knowledge of the organization and what they stand for. Stay relevant music wise. Listen to all types of music, both R&B, classical, rock, jazz. Listen to it all. Not to say that you're going to bring it into the organization. Maybe not doing, as we talked about earlier, the ceremony parts.
Sure.
You know, whole armor. You know, ceremony. I love. You know, like that. That. You know, don't try to outperform. You know, in any situation. You know, you're the cantor. You know, stay in your lane. Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Stay there. Learn. Come out every once in a while, but you want to be certain as to who you are and what you do. Listen, watch, emulate, but not imitate. All right. So you find your way. You're looking at different people that, you know, I take a little bit of Zeph, I take a little bit of Bo, I take a little bit of him, and I blend it with myself. Okay. And that just comes from studying them. Be a cantor, as I said, chorister 24/7. Develop a repertoire of songs that could fit the vibe of your presentation whenever it is that you're ready. You know, I got it's like 10 songs that, you know, I could do if I were to, you know, the cantor or something for the ceremony, you know, watch, particularly when you have a choir with maybe 5 people.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got a choir of 5, see them as a choir of 50. You know, doing ceremony, all songs, praises go up, as I mentioned. You know, practice finding the proper key to keep from, you know, transpositioning. I mean, it happens, you know. But, you know, sometimes I think people do it now because it entertains. As soon as they transfer, everybody, yeah! But what did they do? It just rains. It's okay, all right. Forget it.
Yes, well, no, that's great.
Listen. Let me get letters talking about what you interview this guy for.
No, this is like I said. We appreciate the
Old
perspective.
school,
We
that's
appreciate
all.
the perspective. Yes, sir. Appreciate the perspective. Yes,
Because,
sir. It's
I
important.
mean, you know, you strive towards it. You know, no
Sure,
one's
sure,
perfect, but
sure.
what I'm saying is sharing is what you strive for.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, 5 members in the choir, lead them like it's 50, but don't pitch the songs like you have 50.
Yes, sir.
Don't outperform and sing each other. You know, be a musician. Join a local band, go play somewhere, sing out. You know, hey, you know, you got other songs besides church.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. Be happy when directing. Get to know your singers personally. Okay, find out their idiosyncrasies, what they like, what they don't like. It helps.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
you're a teacher now. All right, so be on time. 5 minutes before you start is too late. You know, consult with the local pastor, as I mentioned earlier, to get the vibe for the week.
Yeah.
See what kind of songs you're going to sing. What is he going to preach about, or she? What's he going to do? You know, love yourself, of course. Develop your craft with practice, practice, practice. Sleep, eat, and live your craft. Again, I mentioned that. Give your best and spend 15 minutes a day if you can with somebody who knows more than you. Whatever it is that you find someone or be with someone that knows more than you at least once a day if you can.
Yes, sir.
And
That is great.
that's it, man.
That's
That's a lot. I know.
that's a lot. That's a lot. But that is,
you know what I'm saying? But yeah.
that's beautiful, and those are certainly things that a person can work toward. They're not so abstract that we can't, you know, strive toward those things.
If the word is the clue, you can find the tune. Song Association.
So to kick things off, we're going to go into our song association game. And so just a quick reminder, we'll give Elda Quattlebaum a few words, and then his task will be to sing a song that either has that word in the title or that word in the in the lyrics. So we have about 5 words here, and we'll see what comes out of his musical mind from these words. All right. So first word for you, Elder Doctor. If I were to give you the word thankful, what song comes to mind? Thankful.
I'm thankful. Thank you for my eyes to see. Thank you for giving me victory. Thank you for loving me.
Yeah.
And for this, I'm thankful.
My Lord, my Lord. All right. So, second word, if I were to give you the word separate, what comes to mind? Separate.
I'll let nothing separate me from his love. I'll let nothing separate me from his love. I may have trials, I may have woes, friends may come, but they may go, but still I'll let nothing
Come on now. Yes, sir.
separate me from his love.
2 for 2. 2 for 2. My Lord. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sounded great. Sounded great. Sounded great, Elder. Third word. Third word. If I were to give you the word soldier, what comes to mind? Soldier.
Buffalo soldier,
Yeah.
buffalo soldier, will you survive in this new land? Buffalo soldier, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo soldier. Tell me when will they call you a man?
Lord have mercy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Fourth song. If I were to say the word waiting, what comes to mind? Waiting.
We've been waiting for so long, waiting to sing for you some of our songs. We've been waiting for so long, waiting to sing for you some of our song. Bass, that's by golly. Jack Acapella is the name of our group. We're doing this concert especially for you. We're gonna sing, shout, and dancing, sing. Just put your mind at ease and let us do our thing. Cherub Acapella, 'cause we've been waiting.
Yes, sir. I loved that. As soon as I heard that, I actually heard the arrangement first, and I just heard the original maybe about 6 months ago. Yeah,
Oh,
6 months
okay.
ago. That touches me every
Yeah,
time.
Larry Graham. Yep.
Touches me every time. Think it was that.
My country tears of thee, sweet land of liberty, from every mountain side, let freedom ring.
And for the sake of the record, whose arrangement is that?
That was the late William Beaufort, but he did it with the Celestial Acapella Choir back in the day before my time. I was a baby.
Got you. So the last thing I'm going to ask you is just to take us out with any song that's on your heart right now. That's the last thing I'm going to, just anything.
Yes, sir. This is a song that You know him, Matthew. The ministers from Columbus, Ohio.
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
It won't be like this always. 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 This is my right now, but not my forever. Oh no. When at times I'm overwhelmed to the moment of despair, I remember that He cares. He cares always, always. He cares always, always. He cares always. That's a song that you got to hear it.
Yes, sir.
Every time I run it to you, but it won't be like this always.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Those are the words. This is my right now, but it's not my forever.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
no.
Listen, Choristers Lounge family, again, thank you so much for journeying with us. Elder Dr. Simon Quattlebaum, it has been an absolute pleasure to spend this time with you here in the Choristers Lounge. Your
I had fun.
experience, it was a pleasure. Your wisdom, just your expertise, taking us through your journey, your musical journey has been wonderful, and we will be the better for it just by listening to that perspective that you gave. So thank you so much, Elder, for spending this time with us. I don't know if you had any final words for the audience.
Yeah, I want to compliment Brother Blake. One time he came to Newark. You weren't there, Matty Ice, but he came.
Yes, sir.
And he led the choir in Newark.
Yes, sir.
And I like his style. Okay.
Yes, sir.
He was in it. The pulpit almost fell down because he was stamping his foot so hard.
Yeah, he was. Having a good time.
You know how you do it.
Yes, sir. Yes,
but
sir.
I like his spirit. I like your spirit.
Thank you, sir.
Your brother's spirit.
Yes, sir.
So I don't have any problems in terms of what's going to happen with the music. I'm sure that, what's going to happen, what you guys do as far as the leadership and what you're doing now, kudos to you. And not just limited to choristers, but
yes, sir.
invite, choir members as well.
Absolutely.
To let them get a piece of this, to stay in the know and to help maintain what our organization is all about.
Yes, sir.
And that's it for me.
Appreciate you, Elder Dr. Simon Quattlebaum. It's been a pleasure to have you, Choristers Lounge family. Thank you so much, and we're looking forward to welcoming you again the next time the Choristers Lounge opens its doors. God bless and keep you is my prayer. Peace and love.
Thank you for my eyes to see. Thank you for setting me free. Thank you for giving us victory, and for this I'm truly thankful. Thank you for the rain and the snow. Thank you for flowers that grow. Thank you for loving me so, and for this I'm truly thankful. Thank you for the flowers that grow. Yeah. Thank you for loving me so. Thank you for Thank you for the rain and the snow. Thank you for flowers that grow. Thank you, thank you, thank you for loving me so. And for this, I'm truly thankful. Oh, for my eyes to see, yeah. Thank you for everything you've done for me, yeah. Thank you for just giving us victory, and for this